Steve Cardenas, aka Rocky the Red Power Ranger, and you are watching Smart Tank Revolution.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the SmarkTank Revolution, where we always kick out at 2. I am your host, Flying Solo, Mr. Donnie Wonderful, back at you with another tangent, another rant. Still feeling the effects of the termination of CM Punk and looking for someone to blame. You know, at the All Out media scrum, Tony Khan said something extremely interesting. He mentioned that if anything were to happen to him, or if he gets hit by a bus, that he would hand the reins over, or that he would like to see the reins of AEW get handed over to Bryan Danielson, and that's not a bad idea. I woke up today, well, not necessarily thinking about wrestling, but this topic, thinking that where's that bus? No offense, I actually like Tony Khan. I think Tony Khan is a fan that had the money and ponied up was backed by a billionaire. I mean, he's his dad, whatever. It's family wealth, family generational wealth. Tony works hard, and he is an accomplished businessman, and I'll give him his credits, for being a very lucrative businessman in his other endeavors. But as far as being a booker for a wrestling promotion, I will say that, or an owner, or whatever the case may be, hmm, he is higher than I rank him higher than Dixie Carter. So, and that's no disrespect to her, but I mean, let's be honest. TNA was a mess for a while, and not even because of the talent, because of the people that was booking the shit. Outside of Dutch Mantel, Jim Cornette, I you know, I've never actually asked the supporters of this channel to let me know or let us know what they think of Vince Russo, but you know, I'm kind of on the fence with Vince Russo. But and nevertheless, Tony Khan does his best. But damn, I'm damn near boycotting Collision now. Collision was a show that apparently TNT wanted, and they wanted these certain stars on the show, and CM Punk was one of them. And now that he's gone, have you all noticed the difference? The vibe of the show is kind of different. I would say so. That's why I'm like, meh. Now it's essentially another Dynamite. There's really no need for it. You might as well just cancel Collision because that spot is a death nail. Saturday, that spot sucks. You might as well cancel Collision and just revamp Rampage and just have that as your second show and just leave it at that. The fact that the rosters even had to be separated is just dumb. These things don't happen on the other side of the pond like that. Edge and Matt Hardy worked on the same show. If this was Vince, do you think these things would happen? The alternative that we were begging for with all of this backstage turmoil does not happen over in Stamford, not in Titan Towers. But one thing that I will say, and I'm pretty sure that it's a unanimous contingent amongst the Smarks, we all were excited when Triple H had the reins, weren't we? So maybe that might be what needs to happen in AEW, because with Bryan Danielson, I doubt that there will be any issues with EVPs refusing to have sit down. Let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about this real quick. So, you, the listener, our loyal supporters, and thank you for listening. Whatever job that you're at, right? Your boss comes to you and says, "Hey, we want to bury the hatchet," right? With you and another employer, you might have gotten into it, or that employer may have spewed some things or said some things or gave his version of what was rumored to have happened between him and let's just call a coworker that's your friend. Cole Cabana works with you. That's your friend, right? So he clears the air and he airs his grievances. And then You bust into his you bust into the break room where he happens to be having lunch, and a scuffle breaks out, right? Everybody gets suspended. He was already injured, so he's out for a while. But then, once everyone's off of suspension, everybody comes back. The boss says, we want to schedule a sit down where we can hash this out. And if you say no, is that not insubordination? Is that not something? I don't know. What do you want to call that? What do you want to call that? And I know you're an EVP, but your boss has simply said, all right, listen, we need to have a meeting because we need to hash this out. What happened to doing what's best for business? And I know that's a WWE thing, but this is also why I feel myself slowly turning on the Bucks. And you can ask my esteemed colleague, Mr. Joey Business. I love the Bucks. I'm not sure where Kenny lies in this, but still, like for some reason, I feel like it's the Bucks and Hangman, Mr. Adam Page. Come on now, come on. You have one guy that was willing to be a professional and sit down and work with you all, and you know what happened? You're not willing to work with him. I thought what the whole purpose here was to um, give us an alternative and a promotion that caters to the wrestling fans, that gives us what we want, at the same time showcasing talents and being successful. I'm pretty sure that that is the agenda of AEW. And I did feel bad for Tony because despite having one of AEW's, well, their largest successful month with two back-to-back great pay-per-views, you have to deal with this nonsense. So, yeah, oh, I don't even think we recorded it. But I remember so I watched All In with my colleague Mr. Joey Business, and he predicted that FTR were going to lose to the Bucks due to Cash's running with the law and him being punished. I guess that makes sense. But punishment here, let's kind of hang on that. In AEW, not consistent. It's not consistent. And I say that because of all the reasons and of all the things that people should be fired for. I'm pretty sure assault is pretty high. And I know AEW does have an HR department. I'm not sure exactly or I don't remember how they dealt with this, but I know Andrade is still there. And the man wanted to be fired. He's told, do not mess with Sammy Guevara. Comes on TV and punches Sammy Guevara, and he's still there. Jack Perry looks into the camera, blatantly looks into the camera. See, when you instigate things like that, you have to take what's coming with it. There was a video on this channel that Joey Business did where he covered the All Out press conference, and he gives some great insight. I absolutely love that video. I encourage everybody to go listen to it right now. Stop this, go listen to that, and then come back here. Or when I'm done ranting and raving, immediately go over there. But one thing that Joey said was, he had openly admitted that he's not a fighter. Well, I am. So if you're going to say something like that and you know the man's in gorilla position or whatever they call that, if you're going to look directly into the camera and deliver a subliminal diss towards the man, the only man that actually confronted you about this, that was, if I'm not mistaken, AEW asked him to talk to Jack Perry about that spot. And they did. I guess Phil didn't know, or Punk didn't know that AEW approved it. So if AEW approves it, then if you're Jack Perry, you just do the spot. You don't look into the camera. You don't say no nonsense. Can you imagine what would have happened in the territory days had they had TVs? Or Can you imagine what would have happened in the Attitude Era? Would that not be an offense that needed to be trialed in wrestling court with the Undertaker presiding as the judge? Who's going to defend you? Jack Perry. Who is going to defend that? You asked for it. That's why I don't feel bad for him. You asked for it, and then he approached you on it, and then whatever happened happened. But then I guess there was another scuffle where, or pull apart, or argument, or whatever it is. I kind of, for the sake of having something to talk about, and reference facts, hope that it gets revealed on what happened with the argument between the CM Punk and Tony Khan, but also, that's enough nonsense. I kind of hope that it does kept swept under the rug, and that we're just able to just speculate on what happened. But you know, for cause Tony Khan, you're a multi-billionaire. You fear for your life from CM Punk. Okay, now I'm just saying. If I'm a billionaire, I got the money. I'm calling Paul Vario. Then we got to deal with Tommy. I'm Tommy in this case is CM Punk. He's being a problem. So you spend your money. You go see Big Paulie. Now you come to Paulie. If there's problems with Tommy, go to Paul. But now you got to come up with Paul's money every week. I love the Goodfellas. Every now and then you'll hear me throw a reference to that great movie in. But no, seriously, I mean, I don't think, or CM Punk doesn't strike me as a person that can't be reasoned with. I believe that a sit down of some sort would have sufficed, if there was an issue with where voices were raised and deep contention and some animosity. I believe that you could have sat down and talked to him and discussed it. I mean, it just seems like liberties were given and taken in other situations elsewhere. But also, Tony, like you can't have the EVPs, and I don't know the full facts, but from what has been revealed, if you're trying to make the peace and have a sit down, how can they refuse? They work for you. I understand that you're friends with everybody, but again, you have to do what's best for business. This doesn't happen over in Stanford. This just doesn't. So what if the reins were given to Bryan Danielson? You know, booking would make a little bit more sense or a lot more sense. We don't know. Bryan Danielson is a great wrestling mind, and even though he humbly said he's not looking forward to that being a possibility, I think that that would have to be the answer that all of us would love. You put the business in the hands of the boys who are responsible. Say what you want about Triple H while he was a wrestler, the curtain call exposing the business. He's done a great job with NXT, and I believe he's redeemed himself to a point where you feel comfortable with a promotion being under his reign. Because we all were saying Vince lost control, not control. Vince lost his touch. Whatever the detractors were saying about Vince McMahon, in those hideous years of WWE, Triple H seemed to have redeemed that, and I think that that's now where, or the future of this great sport that we love, sports entertainment or professional wrestling, whatever you decide to coin it as. It would have to be that. Bryan Danielson running AEW would be great. I also think Mark Henry and Big Show and Jeff Jarrett did a good job with TNA before they fired him, but they fired him because you can blame Vince Russo for that, but he hired Vince Russo. So I mean, you don't get it right all the time. But I do think that the promotions would be better when you have wrestling minds behind the wheel. JR, good old JR. He gets it. Obviously, the greatest commentator in our generation right there. And I think if the controls the AEW were under JR's direction, it would be a whole different promotion. It would make sense for one. And what I mean by that is if let's just take any show. You got guys going through like 700 tables. You have multiple guys bleeding like on All Out. Darby Allin was busted open. Orange Cassidy was busted open. I expected John Moxley to be busted open, but the psychology of wrestling says if you did it once during the show, the second time's not going to have the same wow effect because we just saw it. And that's what we get when we have these triple Hurricane Rana cutters, or you know what I mean, or all of these super, not super kicks, but all of these dives. Like it becomes oversaturated. If one guy does it and then multiple people do it match after match after match after match, it loses its wow, and that's what happened to the Young Bucks, in my opinion. And I'll always reference this. And I understand that there was a synergy, there was excitement for a new promotion, the alternate promotion, but I sat in Harriet Gannis on the second show of Dynamite and watched the Young Bucks and House Party Private Party tear the house down. Go back and watch that match, and you can hear audibly the crowd. We loved every second of that match, and they've had a more than a dozen more after that. But then, when you do it over and over and over and over and over, you lose the luster. So now we kind of look at it. Well, we all know that Nick is going to do the spot where he does a move, then he does the apron backflip, and I know that's a signature move, but he just does it. I We know that Matt's going to do the multiple bridge slams. Like, if there's a psychology set up behind that to where you're building up to it, it would make sense. But now, no, these guys are just doing it because they can do it. It doesn't make sense. It's just a random free for all. So, like, the psychology of the wrestling is what's missing. And once you notice that, you're like, these guys are just doing Circus du Soleil stuff. It doesn't. It's interesting. It's athletic, and I'm not dishing them, but I'm just saying, like, there's no build up to it. There's nothing. For example, when you do it the right way, go back to the new generation. Let's go back to 1995. Let's go back to Raw. You found this on the Raw. You can even see it on 1995 in your house. I don't remember which one, but reference Bret Hart versus Hakushi. Hakushi had a style, that I mean, the way it is now, it's amplified, but he was athletic. He could do all the moves, and he can flip over the top rope and bridge an opponent. But look at how paced that was when he did it. It made sense. Guys just aren't doing things just to do it. And because of that type of recklessness, it still may get a wow, but it doesn't mean as much because somebody's just going to follow it up and do the same thing the next match. So that philosophy is being lost. And I think that when you have wrestlers at the helm and people that truly understand the philosophy of wrestling, we'll get that back. The best storytellers. I mean, on this channel, we've raved about Roman Reigns matches. The last 3 years, we've raved about them. And they have a formula, a predictable formula that we know. The only thing that's unpredictable are the results in certain cases. And even when we know Roman's gonna win, he still delivers a formula. He follows a psychological formula that gets us all enthralled. And that's why he's having the best matches and the best reign of his career. Unintended. So, all in all, I would love to see what AEW looks like under the helm of Bryan Danielson. I would absolutely love it. So where's that bus? Somebody schedule a special meeting where Tony has to cross a certain US highway and that Greyhound or Peter Pan bus is coming full speed and then bam! No, we don't want that to happen, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. What do you guys think? Do you think AEW would be noticeably different with a mind like Bryan Danielson steering the ship? You guys let me know. I just wanted to turn this mic on and rant a little bit. If you're patient enough to have made it this far, we thank you. Please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and we promise we'll have more rants, raves, and reviews coming in the near future. We have pay-per-views coming. Joey and I will get back to recording too. I mean, 'cause a lot of times, man, like these pay-per-views run so damn late. It's like 12 midnight. Brothers gotta work in the morning. Like, and when we get on these mics and we actually start talking about wrestling, it be down there, the next week before we get done. That's how. That's how passionate we are about this sport. But yeah, we promise some more content coming up, and we thank all the new subscribers and the new listeners. Continue to support us. We're close to 1,000, and we're happy about reaching that milestone. And you'll be a part of it. We hope. And thank you. To the next one, guys.